Hello basketball coaches and basketball players, my name is Alan from Al's Basketball Training, and today I'm going to talk to you about a great offense called the triangle basketball offense. This is going to be, first going to be the motion offense that's behind the triangle, and then I'm going to show you some set plays that you can use at the middle school level. So I'm going to go over the motion offense very quickly because I have shown it in a few different other videos as well. So first we're going to have player 1 passing to player 3, and he's going to go down into this corner. This now makes the triangle offense, and from there a few things can happen. You can run some set plays off of it, or you can continue with the motion. What the motion is, he could pass to one of those two players, he can go screen for them, whatever may be. Like let's say he sets a screen, player 1 fills out, his defender gets through, they're still in the triangle. What can happen now is one of two things. If player 2 is quick enough, he can run towards the ball, he can get that ball, or he can screen away for player 2. He would then fill out into that spot, and player 4 would receive that pass, whatever it may be. From there, once that reverse or that swing pass initiates or starts, what we are going to have is player 4 will be passing over to now player 2. Player 2 is going to receive that ball, and we're going to be having player 5 setting a screen for player 3. Player 3 is the first player through, and he's going to be popping out towards the wing. At this time, he could be open for a 3-point shot, and this is one of the set plays, or very similar to one of the set plays that I like to run. However, from there, what we're going to have now is player 5 will set the second screen now for player 1. Player 1 is going to be in the low post. Now you're probably saying, oh my god, a point guard's in the low post. Don't worry about it. He'll be out of there in a second. From there, player 5 is going to be clearing out. Player 1 will be guarding player 1. And now we are back in the triangle motion or triangle offense. From there, we can do the same thing. Pass and then screen. He's going to use the screen. He's going to be popping out. Player 3 is going to be using the screen. He's going to be going down towards the low post. Player 1 is going to be popping out. And now we're going to be having player 5 pass, cut. Now we're still in that triangle offense. Now let's try to run some set plays off of this. Now, one of my favorite set plays off of this offense is like this. We would have player 5 set a screen up. This will be a simple screen and roll with player 5. Player 2 will use that screen, and player 5 will roll towards the net. Player 2 can take that shot. If player 5 hedges, we now have player 5 who can go in for that layup. It's a very simple screen and roll play, and very effective as well. In this next play, we're going to have player 1 passing over to player 2. He's going to cut towards that low corner. Now, this is a play that you can run against a 2-3 zone as well, and even a 3-2 zone too. However, it does work really well against the 2-3 as well as the man. I'll show you the man, and I'll also show you the set play against a 2-3. So here we have a man-to-man defense, and what we will have is player 3. He is going to cut over, and he's going to receive that ball. This is that initiated, that swing pass. Now, instead of having player 4 pop up and have that pass, instead of that, player 4 is going to be going down towards that low post, and now we would have player 1 using player 5 and 4 as a screen. Player 3 is going to dribble over towards the side, and player 1 should be open for that 3-point shot. Now, I had a player, this was on a grade 8 rep team, which is kind of like our version of AAU up here in Canada, and he dropped in the first quarter alone, dropped 5 threes from that spot from the same play. We ran it 4 times in a row. Each time was a 3-point shot made, and then we ran it one last time before the end of the quarter, and he drained another 3-point shot. Now, against a 2-3 zone defense, this play still works really well. So we're going to have player 3 run towards the ball. He's going to receive that pass, and we're going to have player 4 popping down. Now, what's going to happen is player 5 will be setting up a screen on player 5 red. Player 4 is going to be setting a screen on player 4 red. Player 3 is going to dribble over towards this side. And now we're going to have player 1 popping through, and again, open for a 3-point shot. And if he's not open, what we're looking for is if player 4 red was to pop out, we now have player 4 all alone. If this was a solid screen over here with player 5, player 4 could be wide open for that layup. Now in this next play, we're going to, instead of having the entry pass to player 2, we're actually going to run an entry pass over to player 5. And how we're going to run this now, this will only work really well against a man-to-man defense. Player 1 is going to go down to that low corner. We have now created the triangle. And now one of two things are going to happen. We're going to have player 4 setting a screen on player 3. And player 3 is going to be going down towards this low corner. At the same time, we're going to have a dribble handoff in this corner with player 5 and player 1. Now, what we're hoping for is player 5 red to be playing really tight on player 5 blue so that player 1 has an open lane towards the basket. However, if he hedges off and tries to trap player 1 along the baseline, we have an outlet pass to player 3 who could be along the three-point line, or he could be cutting towards the rim where now he can get that pass for the layup. So, even though player 1 could have the opportunity to score, we have a very solid option with player 3 who is cutting towards the rim or towards that low three-point corner so that we can get a quick, easy basket. Now here's the triangle offense, at least a really good play that I use against a 3-2 zone defense. Now, against the 3-2, the weakness is the baseline, and you have to use that to your advantage. So what you're going to have is player 1 using, or passing to player 3, and he's going to go down towards that low corner. That's going to bring the defense over just like this, or this could be a double team on player 3. If this is a double team on player 3, then player 1 could have an open shot. However, he could also drive and have player 5 pop up towards the middle of the key, which would then draw the defense in. We could move the players around just like so. We could have a few different options here. However, our main want and desire here is not necessarily an easy basket by player 1. What we want, because as soon as the ball gets past the player 1, player 3 is going to go down. What we really want is to have player 5 to get that ball in that low post. And the reason for this is he's going to be collapsing the defense. We're going to be having player 4 now screen for player 2, and player 2 is going to be going down towards the mid-post or mid-range or three-point line area. Now, if he can take one dribble towards the center of the key, that's going to collapse player 5 and player 4, and we now have player 2 who's open somewhere in this area for a mid-range or three-point shot. And if player 4 was to pop off and player 2 was to try and recover or stay in between one of these two players, all player 5 has to do is pass out to player 4. That's going to bring player 2 out to player 4 blue, and now he can pass over to player 2. Extra passes are always really good for that easy shot. Now, against a 2-1-2 zone defense, what you're going to be seeing is basically how we used to run the 2-1-2 is having our center kind of own that area of the court. However, you could have a point guard, you could have a small forward, you could have anybody guarding this area. So don't just get fixated by having a player 5 in the middle. However, what we're going to have now is player 1 passing to player 3, and player 1 is going to go down towards that corner. That's now going to bring player 3 out, and player 5 is going to be guarding that low post player. What we're going to be having now is we will have player 5 set a screen up for player 3. Player 3 is going to be using that screen. Now he could drive towards the rim. That is an option. However, we should have player 5 red guarding roughly this area of the court. So he's going to be stopping player 3 from driving towards the rim. However, that could collapse player 3 at the same time, and that could leave player 1 blue open. The other option is player 3 is faster than player 5 generally most of the time, so he could score, but if this was a small forward or a guard, he might not be able to. And how we would now run this is to have player 5 out on player 1, and we can have player 2, he could be cutting down the middle of the key. Always be looking for your players to be cutting into open spots of the floor. However, how I would personally run this is once player 3 uses that screen, he could be popping out for a three-point shot right here as well. But you have to explain to your players who are out on the perimeter on the weak side, as soon as player 5 lifts up, you need to be cutting towards the key because now he can get an easy pass over for a layup or maybe even a high post or like a mid post kind of shot, but there is usually in a wide open area. And when that does happen, that could collapse the defense, which now leaves another player open on the perimeter. Basically, to beat a zone defense, you need to overload a side, also attack the key, and then make very quick passes. If you can make a lot of swing passes, but also in and out passes from the key out to the perimeter, you're going to be really stretching or collapsing that zone defense so that you can have easy abilities to score. I hope that this video helps you and helps your team score more points. I hope that these plays help you, and I'll see you guys again later on today on our second video of the day.